Good day, welcome to Back2TheLand.com. Today we're going to start our little mini-series on how to plant seeds using the chemical fertilizers and stuff that is available on the market today. The next mini-series will be using all organics, but today we're going to be using what you can buy off the Walmart shelves. Probably will want to use Miracle Grow potting soil. We can use this for seed starting. To do this though, the recommendations on the bag call for gloves. So that makes me curious, and I look in here and find out they've got a lot of different chemicals added to this particular product, and they recommend using gloves. Also then, if you're going to wear gloves, you need to wear eye protection. Now you can buy these for about $2 just about any place. You will need a few other little items also. I'll slip our gloves on. We just cut the bag halfway, and we can make a homemade scoop out of a plastic jug. Just cut it in the shape there and keep the cap on the bottom, and you're ready to do scooping. Or you can pull it up by your hands. What we're going to have to use, showing you what I use, are these flats. Notice the drain holes in the flats. And in this little box-like container here is a cement mixing box, which you could buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, and for a few dollars. And we use this for bottom watering the plants. Okay, so we'll start off. When we say bottom watering, this is how we water all our plants, which we will learn more about here very shortly. Okay, now we get some of this in here. We want this bottom layer to get good and wet, because this is a dry substance. These are ground up bark, ground up tree refuge, etc. And it used to be mostly made down in Georgia, and some of it is now made in Texas. And I think within a couple of years you're going to see that most of all this potting soils, no matter who makes it, is going to be coming from Asia. This leads me to being more cautious, because when we get into the organic section, you'll be able to make your own, and then you'll know it's free of all chemicals, and it will be free of all. The new threat on this planet, of course, is the radioactivity. We'll have another separate mini series about that. Okay, now you'll notice that we had the water up about a third of the way inside the flat. We put the water in on the side. We do not water the top. The advantage of the bottom watering system is that we don't want to generate wild seeds starting. If you go to a craft store, like in Walmart, you can buy craft sticks. Look like oversized popsicle sticks. What we're going to do with these is use those as a marker for where we put our seeds and what kind of seeds we're planting. If you use the untreated stick in the potting soil or in the organic soil, it's going to rot off at the bottom, and you'll lose your marker, and you won't know what you've got. So you've got to make it rot proof, and you do that by buying this particular product. It's called wood preservative. Okay, and this one is copper green. There's also a copper brown. Pour it away from you. You only need to pour just a little bit in a can, and then it's just a matter of putting these sticks in here, and they will absorb the green. For example, you can already see it starting to come up, and you will have then a rot-proof marking stick for your plants. Like this was calendula. I had made this one. You can use these sticks over and over again this way. You can buy little packs of plastic markers for your plants. These work really well. And they come in different sizes and shapes. You can use that. And by identifying what type of tomato, what type of cabbage, what type of broccoli you're using, you'll have it permanently etched on here and use these over and over and over again. Ah, good. This is all nice and wet. We're going to put another layer on top. And we'll just pack this down a little bit, and the water will continue to keep coming up. You can even see some of it getting shiny wet at this point. Now you want to make this fairly tight. You can take this and you can roll it. There's no end. You can just use a stick and pack it down. Now you remember from last winter when we were doing tomato seeds, I showed you one of these about half full of tomato seeds. What this one is, for example, I bought a package of late flat Dutch cabbage. and we'll use this as a demonstration for planting seeds. Go to the middle of your box, then the other middle, then the other middle, and we just make little troughs. And already you can see the idea that we're going to be able to put out hundreds of seeds in a small container like this, and you'll have a little package of seeds that you buy someplace. They're all over in the springtime, or you can get catalogs. To use a seed package, open it up, crease it so it's sort of like a little funnel, and then all you've got to do is to just tap it ever so gently, and the seeds will fall into the little trough. Then what you do is just pinch it together. So we would do all of these rows with different seeds. All right, so we're going to now take a marking pencil. We'll see if it's working. And this is kale. I'll put that one there. And so on down the rows. And in a short period of time, you'll start to find your plants are growing. Each little row is separated. If you water on the top, when you got the seeds, they're going to wash all over here. You don't know what you've got. But by bottom watering, it comes up, because it's going to take 3-4 weeks or so to be able to get the plants up high enough to transplant. These are dog food cans. Now, what I do with these, I will punch a hole in them, and that is my drain for excess water, and it's also, by putting it in the water, it brings the water up inside the can. Now, there's different kinds of cans, so this is going to limit your purchasing options, or else you might have some friends with specific type of cans. The little special kitty can has a pop-off lid. You can't, if you got a pop-off lid, you can't use this method, because when you're taking the plant out, you're taking the whole root ball with you, and it's hard to get it out of a can that's got a lid around it. So we try to find cans that I can put in a can opener, run it around, and have a nice smooth lip all the way. Now, we just take one of these and make a hole. That's all you got to do, make a hole. For your tomatoes, for example, these are up nice and high. We can use those. These are the ones that came in the quickest in the greenhouse. So what we'll do is just pull these up. Tomatoes are very, very tough little plants. Now, don't yank them, but separate the root ball. There we go. See the little tiny roots on that? Just drop it down in the hole all the way. Pick out your best tomato plants, the ones that are the strongest and the largest. And we look over here and see what kind we were planting. This is what I call the Wheata. This is from one of the local elderly ladies. She doesn't want to be called elderly. Oh well. Anyway, elderly ladies who uses what her grandmother used for yellow tomatoes. And they're very delicious, and you would call them antiques, or you would call them open pollinated. You would call them heritage plants. These are the kind of tomatoes or other plants that you want to buy, for the simple reason that you can use them for seeds. And again, this fall we'll be doing seeds again. Now, the reason we push these all the way to the bottom is because roots will come off of the stem. This makes a stronger plant. When we transplant this, your tomato plant might be, say, this high. We're going to plant it all the way down with just the tips coming out. And that has massive root structure for the plant. Makes it much healthier, stronger to grow. We'll demonstrate that when we get into the garden. But you get the idea on that. Now, these other little plants over here, these are late Dutch cabbage. All right, so we can just pick up a little bunch of these. There's a root cluster ball. Same thing, make a little hole. Now, sometimes you got to push them down very gently, like so. You do this all day long, and it's not really tiring. Now, don't forget to do what? What's the most important thing? We have to mark our plants, or we will forget. So I'll put Wheata on here. Usually you bring your water level up to about half the can, or just where your plant starts to float. Then it is absorbing all the water, and of course you can see it'll be wet on the top. Now, if you spray, you might not put enough water in your can. You've got to get water come up to the roots to make the roots go down to where the nutrition is. Just watering on the top, if this is dry, we'll just have the top surface, and then the roots will turn and come up, and then the plant's not going to be a very sturdy plant. So this is the way we do it, and do this with just about all of your plants. Squash plants, all that works real well. Some you could just direct seed into the garden. That's an option. But I like to set plants out from the greenhouse for the simple reason they're good, they're strong, they're sturdy. You know which ones are working. You're not wasting space. You have the advantage of fertilizing the plants. Since we're working with chemicalized potting soil, you can also use this Miracle-Gro all-purpose plant food. This is sold primarily to be used in a garden water hose sprayer to spray on the leaves of the plant. But that's mostly for people who are involved in flowering plants and things of that nature. I have always found this is a really strong fertilizer, so I use half of what they recommend. So they're recommending a tablespoon to a gallon of water. So you learn from experience how big your tank is that you're bottom feeding, and you'll just take that proportion, put it in the water, swirl it around, it'll get sucked up into the plants. That's what you want. More is not better. You can actually kill your plants with too much fertilizer. Remember, this is chemical, it's not organic. This is really wonderful. It's not going to hurt your plants in any way, and the fruit is not going to be harmful to you. It has the basic nutrients, and this is still going to be much more healthier buying this on like we look at as a chemical process, as opposed to what's usually grown in the grocery, sold in the grocery stores, grown in giant fields with all sorts of weed-killing defoliants, and you just don't need to be eating that. So this is a good method. This is probably what you'll want to use, or will be only able to use. You can buy smaller bags of the Miracle-Gro or Scott's or any of the others. You don't have to buy a big bag like this, and you don't have to have a lot of apparatus, but you do have to have the smooth lip cans. You can use small cans. You could actually, if you don't want to go with a can, you can buy these like in Walmart in the garden section, and fill these up with dirt, with potting soil, and put your plants in that. The only problem is this is flexible and it's not very sturdy. It's really made to be handled very, very carefully, and some of these will have holes in the bottom where you can bottom water them. Some do not, so you want to look for the ones with the bottom watering. But generally I don't use these because they're not strong. Okay, I think that's the high point. I think we've covered everything pretty well. Our next session will be doing basically the same process, but we'll be working with pure organics for you. So, till then, Back2TheLand.com. Look for my written articles. You'll find them most informative.